Good afternoon, learners. Today we will start with a very important as well as interesting discussion, especially the learners who are from M.Sc. Zoology. Now, you know that perhaps from your program guide that in semester 4 you have M.Sc. project or M.Sc. dissertation, which is MZOP001. Now this project, it has 4 credits and according to the syllabus, it is included in the 4th semester. But you can start this particular dissertation or project work right from your 3rd semester also. So that if you are now in your 3rd semester, you can start working on the project or working on the dissertation. This is point number 1. Now, first of all, before we go into the details of this dissertation, now what we really want you to learn in this dissertation. First point is, mind that this project is not a review work. That means, it's not that you read one paper and write a review article or write a review. Not that. You have to work in a laboratory. You have to acquire hands-on training because what we want is your skill. Because as per the National Education Policy, the thrust is on skill enhancement. So until and unless you work in a laboratory, you do some experiments, you get some data, you analyze the results, your skill will not develop. Just by reading books or reading articles, okay, you may acquire knowledge, but the skills do not develop. So what we want in this dissertation is, you should work in a laboratory. You should do some experiments, generate some data, present your data, interpret your data, and finally come up with a conclusion. So, it's a skill-based knowledge, hands-on training, and basically it will be a kind of research experience. Because if you are studying at the master's level, then we expect that in future you will also do your PhD. So for PhD in life sciences, any branch of life sciences, you have to work in a laboratory. Mostly. Because you have to do the experiments in whatever field you are working. I will come to that. And you have to do the experiments and get the data. And then interpret or analyze the data. So this is point 1. Again, I repeat, it's not a review article based study. It's an experimental based study. So this should be made very clear. Point number 1. Next question that may come in your mind is, where will you work? The first question. Now, if you have gone through our program guide, which is given in this e-Gyan course, then you must have seen that you can work in any college, university, research institute, even in hospitals or clinics, industry. Okay, so there are a lot of options. Anywhere basically they are pursuing research work, you can work anywhere. Depending on which area you want to work, what is your choice? Because in zoology, there are a lot of options. Or take it in a broader way, in life sciences, not only zoology, in life sciences, there are so many areas. And depending on your choice, you can choose a lab. It can be from a college, it can be from university, state or central university. It can be any national research institutes, hospitals, clinics, industry. Now, in this connection, I would also like to mention that at the headquarters in IGNOU, that is Maidangari IGNOU, New Delhi, we also have laboratory at the headquarters at IGNOU. And there are 4 faculty members in life sciences, and almost all of them have their PhD students. So the faculty members at IGNOU can also be your mentor, can also be your supervisor for the dissertation. So you can also approach the faculty members at the headquarters at IGNOU for your project or dissertation, because we also have laboratory at IGNOU headquarters and you can work there depending on the faculty member you approach, and if they are willing to take you, then you can also undergo your dissertation based on lab work. Next question is, who can guide you? Obviously, if you are working in a college, then the corresponding college teacher who is a permanent faculty member, okay, ad hoc, they can be ad hoc or they can be the permanent faculty members in a college or any university in any part of India, state university or central university, any part of India. Even if it is a good private university, you can also work there. Okay, if there are lab facilities, if there are infrastructural facilities, you can also work there. Then the scientists who are working in research institutes, the doctors, because if you work in hospitals or clinics, you will have the doctors or medical practitioners who are also involved in research. For example, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, you have so many research going on at AIIMS, New Delhi, or not only New Delhi, in any part of India, wherever you are studying. So you have the corresponding hospital or clinics where if you see that research is being done, you can approach there also. And the industries, because the academics and the industry collaborations are also very much needed, and sometimes there are many biotech companies also who are doing good research. So you can work there also. So you have a lot of options. We have kept it very broad. And again, I repeat that you can also do your dissertation at the IGNOU headquarters. You can approach the faculty members, the 4 faculty members of life sciences at the IGNOU headquarters, because the faculty members are also supervising PhD students, and so they have the full expertise to supervise you. Next question is, which area should you work? Or if you have this question, which area will I work? Now the thing is that although this is M.Sc Zoology program, it does not mean that you have to work exclusively with zoology only, or any field which is related to zoology only. You can work in any branch of life science. Okay, because again, according to the National Education Policy, it is multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary approach. So the subjects are very much interrelated or interconnected. You are doing M.Sc in zoology does not mean that you cannot work with botany, or you cannot work in microbiology, or you cannot work in bioinformatics or biochemistry, biotechnology, molecular biology, genetics. You can work in any of the areas. So if you want to work in zoology, you have seen that in your theory, you have a lot of courses: molecular biology, biotechnology, immunology, cell biology, genomics and proteomics, bioinformatics, biostatistics, parasitology, aquaculture, animal behavior, entomology. You have so many subjects. But these are all zoology-based subjects. Not all, most of them are zoology-based subjects. And there are some interdisciplinary subjects like molecular biology, genetics, genomics and proteomics, okay, bioinformatics. These are applied not only in zoology but also in botany. Even if you want to work with plant science like botany, plant physiology, we are open to it. You can work in any branch of botany also, plant physiology, or let's say you want to work with anatomy, plant anatomy, okay, or you want to work with taxonomy. So we are also open to it. You can work there also. You can approach any botany faculty member also to do your M.Sc dissertation work. Because ultimately we want you to gain hands-on training in whatever area it is possible. So the other areas might include botany, microbiology, genetics, any branch of medical sciences, pharmacy, ecology, wildlife, conservation biology, nanotechnology, nanobiology. So you can work in any of the areas. We have given you a lot of choices, but we want you to have hands-on training. Laboratory skills should be developed. Because in science, remember that theory alone is not sufficient. You have to work in a laboratory. This is very, very important. You have to gain hands-on training. Only then you gain a sound theoretical knowledge. Otherwise, that knowledge is useless in science. So, this has to be kept in mind, and accordingly you should proceed. Next point is the eligibility criteria of the supervisor. Now the person, whom will you approach? Whom will you approach to be your mentor, or to be your supervisor, or to be your guide? So we have set certain points or checkpoints. Number 1, the supervisor should be a postgraduate in life sciences in any branch of life science. Again, botany, zoology, microbiology, biotechnology, molecular biology, bioinformatics, biochemistry, environmental science, medical science, pharmacy, MBBS, who is connected with life science. So, a postgraduate in life sciences or allied sciences. Plus, the person should have a minimum of 2 years of research or teaching or industry experience. So this is one criteria. Another criteria can be, or the supervisor should have a doctoral degree and working in university, college, institute, research organization or industry. So that will also do. Or the supervisor can be an approved IGNOU academic counselor at the learner support centers, program centers or the study centers. But it is preferable that the academic counselor should have a PhD. And of course, I repeat, the IGNOU faculty members. The 4 faculty members who are there in life sciences discipline at the IGNOU headquarters. And you will find that there is a consent letter of supervisor which is also attached. So that consent letter of the supervisor, that has to be filled up. I mean, it will be required during the submission of your dissertation project. So make sure that whoever you apply, whoever you approach, that consent letter has to be filled up by the supervisor, which will say that the supervisor is willing to guide you or willing to supervise you. So I think that should be in Annexure 1. So you download the Annexure 1 and you give it to your respective supervisor so that he or she can fill it up and give it back to you so that you can submit it during the time of submission of your project or dissertation. Next point is, I just want you to show the, just 1 or 2 minutes to show you the laboratory facilities which is available at the IGNOU headquarters. So as you can see here in the first in my PDF, you will see that I have given the just a glimpse of the laboratory which is present at the IGNOU headquarters. So you will be able to find out that the space is quite adequate and there are quite a number of facilities available in the laboratory which we can make use of for your dissertation. This is another kind of, the laboratory. So we have at least 2 to 3 such laboratories, including tissue culture facilities also. So these are the microscopes which are available. This is the laminar airflow cabinet. So the space is quite large so that we can accommodate quite a number of students. For instance, even if each of us takes 2 or 3 students, then we can accommodate 10 to 12 students at a time for one session. So just to give you an idea that you can also approach us. Next point is, what will be your topic? Obviously, the topic will be given by the supervisor. So in any branch of life sciences, as I told you, so if you are working in any problem related to botany, then of course it will be based on any problem related to plants. Or if it is connected to immunology or say microbiology, or let's say entomology, then any problem related to that. So the supervisor will decide. Or in any part of India, if you are working in any other laboratory. Now in this connection, there might be a question which might come in your mind, that how will you approach your supervisor? Now you can approach your supervisor through email. For instance, if you want to work in any institute, say X, or let's say you want to work in any college under Delhi University. So you can go to the website of that college. Almost all colleges have their website. So you can go to the website. You can go to the respective department, botany, zoology, microbiology, whatever department. And there you will find the list of the faculty members. Almost all of the websites, they give the details of the faculty members, including their email ID, or sometimes the contact number is also available. So what you can do is you can drop a mail saying that I am a student of such course and I am pursuing my M.Sc in IGNOU and I have to undergo a project dissertation. So will you be kind enough to mentor me? So in that way you can approach. Either you can personally visit if the institute is near to where you are actually working or learning. Then you can directly visit the institute and you can approach, pay a visit to the respective faculty member. Or if it is quite far away, then you can drop an email and wait for the reply. If there is no reply, then you can go to the next choice. Or maybe if the contact number is available, you can also contact them. So please take this very seriously. Don't take it half-heartedly that something we will write and do, just write anything and we will get good marks. No, this is very, very important. And take it very seriously. So email, call, or you can pay a personal visit. Try to convince the supervisor about your interest and about the necessity of this project. And then if he or she agrees, ultimately it is your, it will be your way to convince. Okay. And then you can start your work. So the supervisor ultimately with whom you are working will select a research problem. Of course, he or she will give you a problem and the list of experiments that you have to do. Okay, you have to mention about the time, because we have given you almost 1 year time, because I have already told you that you can start in the 3rd semester. So we are giving you that freedom that you can carry out the project over the year. Okay? Why? Because we want you to have that skill. We want you to acquire that skill which will be required for you in future and which will help you actually to learn the theory in a better way. So the supervisor will guide you, provide the lab facilities, and will ultimately help you in analyzing your data and also interpretation of your data, and particularly the writing of the entire dissertation. Because at every step you will need the help of your supervisor, because you people are beginning, you are beginners. So every step you will need the help of your assistance of your supervisor. So you have to keep in touch with your supervisor. So the searching of the host institute, approaching your mentor, and keeping in constant touch with your supervisor, these are some of the requirements that you need to follow. Now I come to the next part. Now supposing you have approached the supervisor, the supervisor is also willing to guide you, and you have started work in the laboratory. Now what will you do? What are the steps and what kind of behavior is expected from you? Because now you are working in a laboratory where there are so many people working. The supervisor is there, and there are a lot of other PhD scholars also, or other trainee like you who are also working in the laboratory. So now it's a teamwork, and we want you to learn this. How to work in a team, how to work in a group, how to behave properly in a laboratory, what are the laboratory ethics. These are very, very important to learn. And these kind of things cannot be learned just by reading theory or by memorizing some facts and reading your SLMs. No. So take it again very seriously. So what we want you now is maintain discipline and punctuality in the laboratory. The supervisor will tell you when to come, at what time to come, and also what is your problem, which are the papers, research papers that you need to study for background information. So these kind of information will be conveyed to you by your supervisor. You should maintain discipline and proper ethics in the laboratory. Be punctual and regular. Talk to your supervisor, and whatever time he or she gives you to come, remember that supervisors are also busy persons. They are academicians. They have their own work. They have other PhD scholars. If they are into teaching, they have their regular classes. Or if they are IGNOU faculty members, they have their own task of preparing the SLMs for you. So they are equally busy persons, and it is your responsibility to come according to their time or according to their convenience. So they will give you proper time, and try to maintain that. Be punctual and be regular. Next, once you have started your work, record your daily observation. You should have a separate laboratory notebook where you should record your methodology and your day-to-day observation in a very careful manner. All the raw data should be properly recorded in your laboratory notebook, and please consult it with your mentor. show the data, including the raw data, to the supervisor and consult your data with the mentor. If the mentor asks you to repeat the experiment, you have to repeat the experiment, because he or she has a better experience to tell you whether your experiments are correct or they need to be repeated. And therefore, it is very important to keep in regular touch with your mentor and discuss your results, discuss your data and interpret your results. And when you are preparing finally the dissertation, then the dissertation has several chapters. I will come to that. These chapters have to be prepared via face-to-face consultation, because you might have to revise. Because first time you write, you people are new to this system. So maybe the writing will not be very much, lucid, or the writing may not be very much which is suitable. So you need to redraft it. You need to modify. You need to revise and re-revise. And for that, you should keep sufficient time. So experiments are done, and then you start drafting your dissertation. And then after you write one chapter, okay, you show it to your supervisor that whether it is okay. You are writing the introduction part. You show it to your supervisor whether it is okay or whether it needs modification, because this will need quite a large substantial time. So revisions and modifications, these will also be needed. And you should take prior appointments from your supervisor, okay? Because you should ask, as I already told you, according to his or her convenient time. Talk to him or her properly and then make an appointment and then come. Now, during the writing, before I come to the different sections of dissertation, what are the chapters of dissertation? Before that, one thing which I would again seriously like to tell you is that please avoid artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT. No, not allowed. Okay? Plagiarism, not allowed. Only it should be less than 10%. Otherwise, we have all the software to check whether it is a plagiarized article or whether it is an original article, whether you have copied it from somewhere or whether you have done your original work. We can cross-check it. It will take just 5 minutes. So it's just not allowed. Take it my word. It should be less than 10%, and no ChatGPT is allowed. You have to write it on your own. You have to frame the sentences on your own. Because there are tools to detect whether you have used artificial intelligence or ChatGPT. So we can just cross-check it and it will take very few time to detect it. So please avoid those tools. Because if you write it on your own, you will learn how to write. It will be your writing skill that you will develop. It will be your experimental skill that you will develop. And this will actually help you in the long run. So we want 100% originality. Of course, there are some words which you cannot avoid. For example, the name of an enzyme. You cannot change the name of an enzyme. Superoxide dismutase will always be superoxide dismutase. Okay? The name of any cancer cell, or let's say any oncogene, cancer-causing gene, you cannot change the name of the gene. That will be constant. But the language, that you can write it on your own. So, no AI tools, and the level of plagiarism, even when PhD students, they submit their thesis, we check whether the level of plagiarism is less than 10%. So these things should also, because your dissertation is also a mini thesis. So all the rules will be equally applicable for your dissertation project. Now we come to the next part, that is the components of dissertation. What you are supposed to write in your dissertation. Now, if you have seen the program guide, then we have mentioned that it should be within the range of 5,000 to 6,000 words. But that does not mean that you have to restrict within 5,000. We have just given an approximate range. Even if it is 7,000 or 8,000, there is no problem in that. Supposing you have done quite a large number of experiments. Of course, you have to analyze the data, you have to write the results, you have to discuss the results. Then it might exceed the word limit, but just don't get bothered about that. If it is required, if it is justified, there is no problem. And this should exclude the references. Don't include the reference list within that word limit. That is the word limit that we have given, 5,000 to 6,000 words. Again, it's just an approximate range. I mean, we don't think that any thesis will be less than 5,000 to 6,000 words. In any case, it should be minimum 5,000 to 6,000 words, if not more. Excluding the reference. Don't include the references within this word limit. If it is 8,000, no problem. If it is 9,000 also, no problem. 10,000, no problem. Ultimately, your work matters. Okay. Next is the first title page. This title page, what will it contain? Title of the topic, name of the learner, that is your name, enrollment number, the regional or the study center to which you belong. For example, if you are in Bhubaneswar, of course, it will be RC Bhubaneswar. Then the regional and the study center, year, and the name of the supervisor, along with his or her affiliation and email ID. So all these information should be in the title page. I repeat, title of the topic, name of the learner, enrollment number, regional or the study center to which the learner belongs to, year, name of the supervisor, affiliation of the supervisor, and the email ID of the supervisor. Then you should include or incorporate the certificate which is issued by the supervisor on the letterhead. What does it mean? It means that after you have completed your work in a particular laboratory under your supervisor, the supervisor will give you a certificate. What the certificate will contain? Certificate will contain that such and such candidate has worked under my supervision, okay, for such and such period of time. For example, if you have started your work in January, and if you are continuing till say September or October, then the supervisor will write that from January 2025 to September 2025, such and such candidate has been working under my supervision. So this is an evidence that you have worked. Otherwise, how will we understand that we have at all worked or not? So this should be there. Otherwise, we will not consider it. So there should be a certificate issued by the supervisor on a letterhead. If the supervisor is a college teacher, then the college will have one letterhead, or the department may have one letterhead. Supervisor will issue a certificate on that letterhead. Similarly, for research institutes, university teachers, anywhere, doctors, anyone, industry personals. So the letterhead which will contain the certificate of the supervisor. So after the title page, you have to place that. Next, certificate of originality. You will find it in Annexure 3. Certificate of originality means that the work which you have done is original work. It is not duplicated work. You have not copied it from anywhere. It is not plagiarized. So your supervisor has to give that declaration and you have to give that declaration. Both of them have to provide that declaration. That the certificate of originality. That the work which is presented in this dissertation is original and no part of it has been taken from anywhere else, including the figures or data or tables, whatever you are presenting. Then acknowledgements. You will acknowledge the persons, okay, whom you consider who have helped you. Not only your supervisor, but there can be other persons also, your lab mates, other PhD scholars or trainees who might have helped you in your work. So you should acknowledge them. And there should be a separate page for acknowledgement section. Then the table of contents. Table of contents means that you have to list what have you included in your thesis or dissertation, including the page numbers. So the list of contents or table of contents will have the list of chapters together with the corresponding page numbers. Then there should be an abstract. Abstract, what is meant by an abstract? Abstract means it is a section which has entire work in a very compressed form. Whatever you have done, whatever work you have done, if somebody asks to mention it in a shortened form or brief form in 200 to 300 words, then what will you write? Of course, first you will write about the background of the work. Then you will write about, maybe in very brief, you can write in the methodology, and then the results, and then the conclusion. But the word limit has to be maintained. 200 to 300 words. Here, don't exceed the word limit. Abstracts normally, they are of the range 250 to 300 words. So for abstract, you should not exceed the word limit of 300. You have to restrict within 300, and within that you have to write whatever work you have done in a compressed form. Okay? And usually what we do is we write the abstract at the end. After you have finished all your work, after you have finished drafting the entire dissertation, and you have the entire picture in your mind, then it becomes easier for you to write the abstract, because you know which points you have to leave and which points you have to include, depending on the importance of your work. Okay? Although abstract is placed at the beginning, but normally it is the most difficult part to write, because you have to write so many things in a very brief form. This is my personal opinion. You can just check it, and I think you will find it useful. Next is the introduction. Of course, introduction will have the background of the work. So introduction, usually there is no hard and fast rule that how many pages it will have. It can be 3 pages, it can be 5 pages. So introduction also contains along with it the objectives or the aims of the study. What are your aims of research or aims of your study? So introduction followed by objectives or aims of study. Then the review of literature. Review of literature means the area in which you are working, what are the background literature. That means previously in that area somebody have worked. So lots of people, or there could be quite a number of people who have worked in the same problem. Supposing you are working on arsenic stress. So you are not the first person, or the supervisor is not the first person who is working with arsenic stress, because arsenic stress is a major problem, whether in plants or in animals. So there are a lot of other scientists or university teachers or college teachers who might have worked on arsenic stress. So you make a background study, what they have studied and what are the gaps in research, what are the lacuna which you are addressing. So that background literature we generally include in the review of literature. Then the research design and methodology. You are doing some experiments. So for those experiments, you are following some methods. You are using some materials. You are using glasswares, plasticwares, reagents, chemicals. So many things you are using. So those are the materials and methods. And then the methods. That means the protocols. Because you are doing experiments. Doing experiment means there is a method. You have to follow some method. So you have to write those methods along with the references. Because methods, you are using somebody's methods. Some scientists or some people have already found those methods. So you should cite those references and you have to write those methods in your own language, of course. So methodology. Next, results and discussion. Now results and discussion means, now supposing you have done few analysis which you are presenting in a tabular form or in a graphical form, bar diagram or pie chart, whatever. So you are presenting your data, your graphical data, or you are presenting some photographs like microscopic data. You have taken a photograph under microscope. You have stained your sample and you are taking the photograph microscopic sample. So you have to include that photograph. So all these photographs, tables, graphs, they should be included in the results and they should be explained. That what you are getting in that figure. So you have to explain the results. You have to write that, okay, I have added this treatment and then I have seen that it was shown that, or it was observed that such and such increase happened or such and such changes happened. So those things have to be, the photographs and the data have to be included and then they have to be explained. Of course, again your supervisor will help you how to write. And then you have to discuss the results. Just writing the results will be not sufficient. You have to now analyze. Why did you get your results? Why there was an increase? When you applied a treatment, you applied a drug, for example. Then you find some cells were killed. Why? So you have to explain that data. Or if you are applying some, pesticide to a plant, then you find that there is change in the plant, in the physiology of the plant. Then why there is a change? What are the changes and why there is a change? So these have to be explained. So any result that you get has to be explained. And that is the discussion part. You can take help of other references to discuss your results. I mean, if there is any previous literature who have observed the same kind of, who have got the same kind of observation. So you can support your data with the previous data or previous observation. For that you have to read a lot. Read about the previous references. And finally, conclusion. That is another section of your thesis. Conclusion part, where you will just conclude what you have got. You can write it in the bulleted form also. Like if you have main conclusion, 3 or 4 main conclusions, then you can write the conclusions in a bulleted form also. And finally, the references. Normally, we expect that the references should not be more than 100. I think 100 is too many references. So that could be the maximum limit. I don't think the number of references will exceed 100. It can be even less than that. 50 to 100 also it can be. And the references should be of uniform format. There are several styles for writing the references. Now, it can be APA style, that is American Psychological Association style. You can follow that style. Or if your supervisor asks for any other style, you can also follow that. So, but the thing is, the very important point is the references, all the references should be written in a similar format. One reference you are writing in one format. Usually this is a very, very common problem which I find in the students. That they copy the references from here and there and then they forget to bring the references to a common format. So please follow that. So now your thesis is ready. Next question is, how many copies of thesis do you need to print? 3 copies. Why? 1 copy you should give to the supervisor. 1 copy will be your own copy. Because in future, maybe you may be asked, okay, fine, what have you done in your M.Sc? If somebody asks in your future interviews or anywhere you go, okay, let me see what have you done in your M.Sc dissertation, in any further interviews. Then you can show it that yes, these are the techniques or these are the skills that I have acquired during my dissertation. And the 3rd copy, this has to be submitted at the IGNOU headquarters because you will be evaluated on the basis of your thesis. So 1 copy will come to the IGNOU headquarters. 1 copy is your own copy and 1 copy will be given to your supervisor. And the dissertation has to be posted to Registrar SED, Student Evaluation Division, Maidangadi, IGNOU headquarters. Done. So your dissertation part is complete and your dissertation has 80% weightage. The rest 20% weightage is on Viva OC, which I will come in the last 5 minutes before we conclude. So another point which is important is there is a separate fee for dissertation which is to be submitted to the respective RCs. Your Viva will be held only after the payment of the respective fee. So this is important, another very important message. Now for the January batch, you should submit your dissertation by 30th November and for July batch, you should submit your dissertation around by 31st May. And there is no need to submit the synopsis. That is not required. Straight away, you will send your dissertation. I mean the final dissertation. Now coming to the Viva OC. During Viva, once you have paid the requisite fees and all, now the Viva will be conducted at the Program Study Center in a face-to-face mode. Don't request for phone, email, teleconferencing, virtual mode. No, this will not be allowed. You have to be there. It has to be conducted, or it will be conducted in a face-to-face mode and at the study center, program study center, with which you are connected. So during Viva, don't forget to carry the copy of your dissertation. You have your own copy of dissertation now. So please carry it so that the respective person who is conducting your Viva will have the report or will have the dissertation, and based on that dissertation, he or she can take your Viva OC. So don't forget to carry your dissertation copy. No phone, no email, no teleconferencing, no virtual mode. It has to be conducted in a face-to-face mode. So for January cycle, Viva will be somewhere in January to February, and for July cycle, it will be somewhere July to August. That is the Viva OC I'm talking about. And the Viva will have 20% weightage, 80% for the project dissertation and 20% for the Viva OC. What is the minimum marks required for passing this paper, this course? 50%. So the minimum pass marks required for passing the project or dissertation is 50%. And when you go for your Viva at the program study center, carry your identity card and the proof of payment of fees on the day of Viva. So you will be asked for both of these. So your identity card and the proof of payment of fees on the day of Viva at the respective program study center or the RCs, whatever be the case. So that you will be communicated. So these are all the protocols, or this is how the project or dissertation, MSc project or dissertation should operate on an ideal basis. And I hope you have understood that what is the main purpose of undergoing this dissertation. The main purpose should be kept in mind. Skill and your hands-on training, and then getting the results, interpreting the results, presenting the data or presenting the results, and finally, above all, working in a team in a disciplined manner, maintaining the laboratory protocols, maintaining the laboratory safety, maintaining the laboratory ethics. So these will help you actually. Working in a team, working in a group, okay? This will help you in the long run in your future work, in your future profession also, wherever you go, whether in research or even if you want to work in any company or anywhere you go. You will need this teamwork or group work under a mentor. So that is the main purpose of undergoing this MSc project or MSc dissertation. So I hope I have given you a clear picture of what to do in the coming months. If you have started, well and good. But see if you conform to all these protocols, whatever I discussed, and if you have not yet started, you start making plan from today only. Where will you approach, whom will you approach, and how will you proceed? So with this clear background in your mind, I have given you a total blueprint of what you have to do. With this background in your mind, please start from today, make a proper planning and perform accordingly. All the best, and if you have any suggestions, further suggestions, or not suggestion, if you have any inquiries or if you have any questions, please contact us. Even the IGNOU faculty members, I told you that we might take few students, so you can even contact us or approach us for the dissertation. So we are there, open, and we will help you in the best possible way. So thank you all, and I wish you all a very, very happy dissertation. Thank you.